Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are talking about World War Z for the Nintendo Switch. So without further ado, let's make a start on that review. Quickly, just before we start, I just want to say that all of my opinions today are based on playing the game in handheld mode on the OLED model and also playing this in single player rather than online multiplayer mode. World War Z was originally released in April 2019 and it finally came to the Switch on the 2nd of November of this year, and it does loosely follow both the book and the film adaptations. The game is predominantly a third person shooter. There are some first person shooting elements depending what type of gun you use, and there is the occasional RPG element to it as well, such as leveling up your characters, leveling up your weapons. I guess you'd maybe class them as very loose RPG elements. The CEO of Saber Interactive, they have actually said that it's the hardest thing they've had to do with the company is to try and port this over to the Nintendo Switch. So you've got to say absolute fair play to them. They have ported it over and I think they have done a really fantastic job. So credit where it's due to the company for putting all the effort in and actually porting it over to the Switch. Not just a really terrible port and trying to make a few quid, but actually porting over an incredibly good game to the Switch. The single player, which I've been playing, the offline single player, has 4 levels and each has, some have 4, some have 3 different stages to them. They all have various objectives, but to be honest with you, you don't really have to listen to them. The main objective is to kill as many zombies as possible, and there'll be defensive parts of that objective, so you can build what you'd class as maybe a small base. You can put barbed wire, various electric fences, various machine guns, and it's to kill as many zombies as possible. I just want to have a quick chat about the frame rate because I've tried to do some frame rate tests myself, which have been unsuccessful. So I have checked out a couple of other technical reviews of the game. Now, this is where it gets confusing because they're both showing the same thing on the screen. One is coming up at over 30 frames a second, the other is sometimes showing 20 frames a second. So I think I've got to just say what I can see on the screen. And playing it on the OLED, I'm not noticing any kind of significant frame drops. Not enough to spoil the game anyway. So I think, hand on heart, I don't know what kind of frame rate we're getting because the technical stuff that I've looked at, it's not coming up accurately enough for it to show what is that locked frame rate because I'm getting so much different information. This may seem a little bit strange, but there's so much going on the screen. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, of zombies on the screen at once, which is just an incredible thing for Saber Interactive to have actually done to get that much going on the screen at once. That graphically, you don't actually really notice the negatives. If you stop and you kind of look around very slowly, you might look around and think, certain areas are not as nice as I wish they could be. But because the game is so quick, because there's so much happening at once, you really actually don't get time to stop and look around. So I guess that's to its benefit, the fact that I actually think the game looks pretty nice. I think it's a pretty well made game graphically. But because there's so much going on the screen, you don't notice maybe the poorer areas, if that makes sense. I just want to talk about a slight negative I've got, and that's nothing wrong with the port. I honestly think they have done a fantastic job. I think that the quality of the game is absolutely brilliant. I can't fault the port at all. What I'm finding frustrating is we're paying full price for the game, so it's $34.99, and it's available physically and obviously on the eShop. We're missing part of the basic game, so we're missing the Marseille stage of the game, which comes in the basic 2019 version of the game that we've got. So that's one level we're missing. They brought out a new edition a couple of months ago, which included Rome, Vatican City, and I apologise, but another Russian stage. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name. That's what's most frustrating. They've said it's been the hardest thing they've done to try and get this port over to the Switch. Well, either port the full game over or wait a little bit longer and finish it and then bring it over. I can understand if you're not bringing out the new free stages that they've just brought out. Literally, I think it's about 6 weeks or so ago. But where's the Marseille level? I've looked around and I can't see a reason why that's not included. So whether or not they're looking at how well the game sells, and if the game sells well, they're going to include some DLC to try and boost the sales again. I don't know, but incredibly frustrating to be missing part of the game, especially when we're paying full price. If we're paying $19.99 or even £25 for the game, okay, maybe miss a little bit out, but we're missing a full level and then 3 extra levels on top of that. So nothing wrong with the actual port itself. It's just the frustration of missing basically part of the game that's available on other systems for cheaper prices. I'm going to finish this review now. I'm going to explain whether or not you should buy it or not. So, I've got a couple of opinions on this. I have really loved the game. It's only when I've gone and done research for this review that I've seen just how much we're missing. And that's where the frustrations for me lie, especially because picking up $34.99 is quite an expensive game when we're missing part of the game, I feel. If you've loved COD Zombies, if you've loved the Zombie Army trilogy, if that's the sort of style of game that you really love, I think pick this up because it's another quality port over onto the Switch with online play, offline play, and there's quite a few hours of replay value for this game. My recommendation, if you're sort of in the camp about whether to buy it or not, I would say wait for a sale. Because I think if you can pick this up for around the £20 mark, I think those missing levels, they're not going to frustrate you too much. And hopefully by the time it goes in the sale, we might have some information about some DLC that's going to come. So that would be my recommendation. If you're hugely into this style of game, you're not going to worry about paying that little bit more of the price. If it's 50-50, just wait for a sale. Wait for a sale, pick this up. Hopefully in a few months' time, we'll have a load of new DLC for the game, and it'll be well worth buying it then. So that's my opinion. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you're new, obviously hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and then maybe comment down below any games that you'd like me to review or any games you'd like me to play or games you think I'd enjoy playing. But thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care, guys.
This is... We're in the parking garage under the State Mall.
It's where the distress call came from.
Bumashka, you and your team stay in the sewer with Svetlana. Watch the tunnels.
We'll scout ahead and let you know when it's safe.